Hi, don't mind my bad hair day. Wearing a cap, trying to cover that up. uh, I just wanted to share some paranormal experiences that I've had, which I really want to emphasize are supernatural, because paranormal, according to its definition, just covers a whole range of different things. Um, but mostly what I've gone through are supernatural experiences. I did post a video about my hell experience, and to my surprise, a lot of people were really appreciative of me sharing that. It's kind of embarrassing to share things like that because a lot of people will poke at you and say things that are not nice, but in the hope to help other people, I guess I can just put that aside and forget what those other guys say. I mean, it's really not important what they think anyhow, because eventually, someday, everybody is going to experience something supernatural or paranormal. So, whether they're a skeptic now or not is really not important, because one day they're going to see that what people have been saying and what people have been sharing is true. So I kind of wanted to go back to my childhood, because a lot of these paranormal movies that are out right now, the Paranormal Research Society and different places, they're out there and they're trying to help people who are having these encounters with some sort of spiritual entity, they call it. They're not sure what they are all the time. They claim that some of them are human-bound earth spirits, which I just don't believe. Because when you die, you die. You cannot come back to Earth and play whatever you're going to play. I mean, it just doesn't happen that way. You don't have any control over it after you die. You only have control of what happens while you're here on Earth. And the decisions and the choices that you make while you're here are what's going to determine what's going to happen when you go. So, I just kind of want to share a little bit of what, I've been through in my past. When I was probably about 11 years old or so, maybe 12. My dad he had remarried this lady, and of course he wanted to make us believe that, she was our stepmother and, wanted us to get along with her and all of that. And I just really had a hard time with that because this woman was 21 years old, 22 maybe, I don't know. And I just couldn't wrap my head around the idea of calling somebody that age my mom or stepmom, So I did what I could to get along, but it apparently wasn't good enough for my father. And so he eventually took my stepmother to a psychic and did a reading because he was trying to find out why I couldn't get along with her. He didn't think about the fact that she's, 21 years old, and he left my mother for this woman and wants us to accept that. I mean, come on, what did my mom do anyways? Really. So anyhow, he came back, and at that age I'm very, gullible. I don't know about all this stuff, so I kind of say, oh yeah, okay, I want to hear. So they play this audio tape for me, and this psychic reader, or whoever she is, goes into all this past life stuff and explains why we don't get along because we were somehow involved in a past life. And I don't remember all the details anymore because it's not something that I care to remember, because I feel like when you get involved in that type of thing, you open up doors for attack. And I'm not going to open up any doors to get attacked any more than I've already been attacked over the years. So, but anyways, they thought it was a big deal and all of that. And it wasn't long after that I started having these really weird experiences. And, I think they opened the door for that for me without realizing what they were doing. And I would sleep in that house in my room. I had my own room. I would take naps sometimes. I'd be tired during the day or whatever on the weekend, and there wouldn't be anybody home. I'd be there by myself, and I would take naps, and in between the wake and the sleep stage of falling asleep, something would press down on me, and I couldn't move. And it was like trying to take me someplace, and I didn't want to go. And I was kind of trying to think to myself, what the heck is going on here? I mean, something's got me pinned down. I can't move. I can't scream for help, even though, if I could, there was nobody there. And all I could do was just lay there and try and shake my hand, or kick my leg, or do whatever I could to try to bring me out of the state that I'm in. And eventually, I would figure out a way to bring me out of this state. And then I would be really scared, because whatever it was that was oppressing me wasn't of this world. I mean, it definitely was not something that I was familiar with, and it really, really, really scared me. And so I would be really tired, because when you are in between the state of awake and asleep, and you don't get your sleep, and you're tired to begin with, you want to fall back to sleep to get that rest so you're not tired anymore. And I would be really scared to fall back to sleep, and I would have to try for hours to get out of that wanting to fall asleep state. And every time I would try to fall asleep, it would try to come back. And so finally I'd have to get up, and I'd have to just say, okay, forget this, and just hope and pray that it wouldn't happen the next time I tried to fall asleep. And over the years, I had no clue what it was, didn't understand it, but I had talked to my aunt, who was involved with astrology, and she had some friends who were involved in the occult, and I started telling her what was going on. These people were like psychics, and I don't know, all kinds of stuff they did, metamorphosis and different things. And I started telling her what was going on, and she said, well, I think I have a friend that might be able to help you, because this problem had continued to haunt me and happen to me even into my 20s. And I really wanted to find a way to deal with this. I didn't understand it. And so she got me in touch with somebody, and they told me, oh, just let it happen. Just let it happen, and then you'll learn how to control it, so that when it tries to happen, you'll be able to control it and stop it. So me, not knowing any better, I decided to go ahead and just kind of go with it, let it happen, see where it took me. And it took me to this place where I thought that I was seeing my great-grandmother who had passed away. It was a dark shadow of some sort of being, but it was trying to give me the impression that it was my grandmother, and it wanted me to follow where it was going. And I started to follow, and I thought, you know what? Something just isn't right about this. And before I know it, there were these hands and people just coming out of everywhere and just grabbing and pawing at me and ripping at me. And I thought, oh my God, this is not happening. I didn't know how to get out, but I continued to shake my leg or shake my arm to try to get out. And I was so scared that I realized that this was some sort of trick to get me to go, so that I would die, so that I would actually lose my life. And I had just had a baby at the time, and I was married, and I wasn't ready to leave yet. I didn't want to leave yet. So I didn't understand all the things that were going on, but I knew that I had to find some sort of answer. So later on in my life, I had decided to start going to church. I didn't know what else to do. I mean, I believed in God. I always felt like maybe, I was put here for a reason. I didn't know what it was, but I just didn't have any other answers, because apart from that experience that I continued to have even into my 40s, I needed to find some answers. And, you know, messing with the candles and the New Age stuff, I had done plenty of that, and I wasn't finding any answers there. It just seemed like every time I dabbled into that stuff, something bad would happen, not shortly afterwards. I mean, maybe a day, 2, a week, you know. And I always felt like, you know, it's because of that. It's because I was messing around with that stuff, and I don't got no business over there messing with it. And so I remember going into a candle shop one time, and, you know, I mean, what can it hurt, you know? And I saw a lot of crystals and occult memorabilia, you know, dragons and all kinds of different things. And I went in there, and the person behind the counter started talking to me. And I didn't know what they were going to tell me. I didn't ask them to tell me anything. But right away, the person told me, they said, there is a light inside of you, a really bright light that I've never seen before. And I said, oh, really? And he said, yes. And he said, that light that's emanating from you, that's inside of you, is pure love. And I don't know, I don't understand what that is. I don't know what that is, but I have never seen this before. And so I kind of thought, well, I kind of knew what he was talking about. And it was kind of embarrassing for me because I didn't know how to describe it to him without maybe offending the person. But I knew that it was the Spirit of God, because when I was 13, I had been put in juvenile hall, uncontrollable brat, you know, getting into all kinds of trouble. And so my mom put me in juvie. And there was this one girl there that used to pick on me to no end. I mean, this girl would not leave me alone for nothing. And I'm not a tall person. I was just a little itty-bitty thing, you know. Finally, one day, I just said I'd had enough. And I just went off on her in the courtyard and started tearing her up. Well, we got thrown into lockdown, and I'm in my cell having a fit. She's out running around going, look at me, look at me. Apparently she had connections down there, and they didn't keep her locked up because I was so angry. I wanted to knock her lights out. And eventually she tells me, you need to calm down, because if you don't calm down, you're not going back. You're staying here. And, you know, she's just poking at me and laughing at me some more, and I keep telling her, you keep messing with me and I'm going to tear you up again, you know, on and on and on. And finally this little Indian lady come into the room, and she says, I want to talk to you about God. And I was like, I ain't got no beef with God. I guess so, you know. I mean, I had just gotten into a fight with this dumb girl, and I didn't have no beef with God, but okay, whatever. So she came in and she started talking to me about God. And before you know it, I asked Jesus into my heart. I mean, you know, what did I have to lose? I mean, look at the crap I'm going through already, you know. I mean, I'm going through so much crap, I didn't have anything to lose. So at that moment that I asked Jesus to come into my heart, I felt like as if I had left my body. I was in another place in the room, and I was being held in his arms, in Jesus' arms. And I'm thinking to myself, how the heck is this happening? Because my chair's over here, the woman's over there, but I'm over here, and I can see outside into the courtyard. There's bunk beds there, you know, and I can see into the courtyard. And this window is up as high as the second bunk bed, okay? And I'm just a little itty-bitty thing, so I can't see out that window unless I'm on top of that bunk bed. But here I am, I'm looking out that window, and I'm seeing out that window, being held in his arms, feeling, for the first time in my life, loved. I mean, This is the kind of love you can never experience unless you experience it with him. And so, you know, he just kind of held me there for a little while, and then I was back in my seat talking to her. That was pretty much the end of it. I mean, I didn't know a whole lot about anything, and I kind of, you know, tried to learn more as I could. And there were some people that, you know, kind of helped me out a little bit. But when that guy started telling me about that love and about that light that was inside of me, I knew who he was talking about. I just didn't know how to tell him what I'm telling you now, because, I mean, who in their right mind is going to believe me anyways? So that was the main thing that got me going, was learning my prayer language. I don't know how I got it. I've heard a lot of people say, oh, you know, you get baptized in the Holy Spirit and you pray in another language and this and that. Well, I didn't ask for it. When I asked Jesus to come into my heart, I started speaking in it. This wasn't something I knew anything about. This wasn't something anybody had told me about. So when people say, oh, well, you can't do that, I can say, you want to make a bet? Because I didn't ask for it and I got it. And now, it's something I do regularly. I mean, you know, it's my prayer language. It's my private time with God. That's what I do. But I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I continued to live my life the way I had before. The only difference was that I knew that God existed. Even though I did before that, I just didn't know what I knew then. And I was always conscious of his presence, somehow being there when I was getting into trouble and kind of helping me get out of it or whatever. And it got to the point where my marriage was falling apart, and I didn't know what the heck was going on. I'd never experienced any of this supernatural stuff, really. I heard a voice tell me that Satan is trying to destroy your marriage, and I'm like, what the heck is that? What the flip's going on, man? And so I told my husband, and he's like, we don't need to go to church. That ain't nobody else's business. We don't have to share it with nobody. I thought, well, we need to get some kind of help, because, we're not doing good. I mean, this marriage is falling apart, and we've got 2 kids. And he just was totally against it, and I didn't know any better. Tried to go to church here and there through the years, but never stayed any one place too long or anything. And was pretty dumb as far as all that goes. But somehow I knew that I needed to do something different. I didn't know what it was. And eventually my marriage fell apart. And the things that took place were very, very evil. I won't go into detail about the things that happened, because I'm eventually going to write a book, so I'll just save that stuff for later. But my husband had to move out, and I had to get a roommate to help me pay the rent. So this girl moved in with me, and we party all the time. We do our thing. We do whatever. I mean, we didn't know any better. But I always had this something in the background telling me, this is not who you are. You're not like this. This is not who you are. What is going on here? So eventually things kind of got really bad, and I started doing some drugs and spacing out a lot, and just really tore up because of my marriage. And I finally just kind of said, God, if you're really there, I just want to go with you. I just want to be with you, because I don't want to deal with this anymore. This is, it's too much for any one person. Just take me to heaven. I don't care if it's for an hour. Just show me that you're there, and show me that you care. And I fell asleep that night, and I couldn't believe it. It was like all of a sudden this window opened, and Jesus walked through it. And he said, "Come with me." You didn't have to ask me twice, buddy. I was going. And he took me in, and he gave me a tour, walked me around. And then when it was done, he told me, he said, "You're not going to remember anything about this." And I thought, well, that's fine with me because I was with you, so it doesn't really matter what I remember. Just the fact that I knew that I went there and that I was with him was all that mattered to me. And that gave me enough incentive to push on and to move forward. And the fact that I remembered that he came to get me and brought me back was enough for me at the time. Then I just kind of lived my life again just like I had been. Didn't know any better. I didn't know any better. And got into the drugs some more, and one night I was really spacing out, just really spacing out, when I seen this dark shadow up in the corner of the room, just hovering there, just like a cloud, like black. And I thought, oh Lord, what the flip is that? I was in the restroom at the time, of all places, and I'm thinking, I don't have a clue what to do, and I don't know how to get this thing to go. And I remembered somebody telling me, if you don't know what to do and you don't know, how to pray in your prayer language. Now I'm sitting here, high as a kite, seeing this stupid thing up in the corner. I start praying in my prayer language. And I kept praying in my prayer language, and that thing finally went away. There were other things that started happening after that. It was like, what the heck is going on here, man? Why am I having all this stuff going on, I used to listen to my rock and roll, Aerosmith and Def Leppard and these different bands that I like to listen to. And I started hearing stuff in the music. What the flip? Man, I've listened to that thing 1,000 times, and I ain't never heard that in my music before, And so I thought, let me go play it back and see if it comes back again, because I'm tripping out on this. And I started playing the music again, and just about the same place that I'd heard it before, here it comes. Some sort of gargoylic noises, and I thought, oh Lord, I guess I ain't going to be playing that one anymore because there's something evil about that. And so I stopped playing that one. Didn't play it anymore. It was Aerosmith, Back in the Saddle Again. Listened to that thing, I don't know how many times. Stopped playing it. And I was listening to some Def Leppard, and some of the words that were in the song were not coming out the way they were supposed to come out. I wasn't hearing them that way. And I would look on the album to see what the words were supposed to be, but it wasn't what they were saying. And I can't remember what the words were now. It's been a long time. But I knew that I was hearing something different, so I'd ask my roommate, are you hearing this? No, it's saying what it says there. What the heck is going on? Why am I hearing it and nobody else? And then I started realizing there's a reason why I'm hearing all these things. I had been really sensitive to the supernatural and the spiritual realm, and I didn't know how sensitive I was. So eventually it got to the point where I just started feeling like the world was changing, and there was darkness everywhere, and I could feel this darkness everywhere. And I could only remember hearing people say, that it's going to be like the days of Sodom and Gomorrah, or the days of Noah, and God's going to come back. And I thought, oh man, I can feel the darkness out there. I can see. It was so eerie, and I thought, I need to get my act together. Still didn't know how to do that, but what do I know? And eventually I was able to do that. And because I was able to do that, the supernatural experiences that I continued to have, I had to learn how to do battle with, which I'll share in another video because this one's just about up here. I mean, there's not a whole lot of time left for me to talk. But because of what I've experienced and the doors that I opened, because, you know, all my little doodads I played with, tarot cards, and different things that I've done, getting involved in, well, I almost got involved one time with this warlock that was, he said it was a Wiccan, but, I mean, they were doing spells, and they were taking acid and doing all this other kind of stuff, and somehow I opened the doors doing that too. So, I went through a battle. I went through a battle that no one should have to go through, because of the doors that I opened in my life. And I will get into more detail on another video. But in the meantime, I hope something that I've said here has helped somebody. It's a start, and well, just leave me a message if you need prayer, and have any experiences you want to share with me. God bless, and have a great day, guys.